Harold Peterson of Lucid IT. I'm one of the founding directors of the Lucid IT organization back in 2001. And in 2006 I came to Asia, where I've become director of Lucid IT Southern Berhad over here. Not only am I a director of the organization, but also principal consultant. And what that means is that I help my customers achieve real cultural change and transformation in their IT department. I'm a trusted consultant in the area of implementation of service management, IT governance, and PMOs and project management best practices. Now, talking about my background, I started off in IT operations after my university degree in electrical engineering. And in that role, I worked across a variety of industries, blue chip organizations in IT support, system administration, IT operations, and of course PMO and project management. I worked in Europe, worked in Africa, and the last 15 years Australia, New Zealand, and Asia Pacific. In Asia Pacific, for the last however many years, since 2006, I've worked in Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines as a trainer and a trusted consultant. In Malaysia, I've worked for a number of big financial institutions where I've helped them to implement IT service management using ITIL best practices. We've achieved successes in the implementation of processes like incident management, problem management, change management. And with that, we've established a situation of increased control for senior management, increased service levels, and reduced total cost of ownership. For another financial institution, we've helped them to standardize and improve their PMO and project management processes, really improving the skills of a project manager. And that's more than just a certificate. That means, sure, some training and certification in project management, PMP or Prince 2, but it also means real coaching, real support, real standardization of the way people run projects. It's about achieving results. It's not about using all the bells and whistles of a so-called best practice method. It's about putting best practice into real practice. So in Malaysia, we've done some of that in some big financial institutions. But I've also worked for big industry organizations where, again, we help them with IT governance and ITIL implementation. Often we get involved in assessing their current processes, and often their current processes may be loosely based on ITIL, and through the implementation of a tool set, they think that they're doing the right thing, but sometimes, as it turns out, it's not very practical, and that's where we can come in. So both in implementing a greenfield situation as well as assessing current processes, we can help assessing the current situation and then achieving a much improved situation where processes are simpler, better handled by personnel, better understood by personnel, and also, funnily enough, better understood by management, who actually need to learn how to control and improve these processes. One interesting example is a customer of mine who established a very smart and clever workflow in a tool set, and we actually helped them to simplify that, because the clever solution was so clever that not everybody was able to work with it. So we were able to simplify the solution and then socialize it across the organization so that people are more able to achieve success, be effective, and be cost effective. The way we facilitate real change in an organization is through a consistent process. We have a consistent approach to implement both PMO best practices as well as IT service management and IT governance best practices. Partly it's a consistent process, and partly it's simply hard work and understanding people in different cultures. I'll briefly walk you through the approach that we take. And the approach is all about making sure that when an organization expresses a vision to implement change, for example, implement a more effective PMO solution, or for example, simply improve their IT asset management or change management, when they express that vision, then one thing that has to happen is senior management needs to truly commit. That means they need to commit to steering that organizational change from start to finish. So we engage senior management in that, and after that we progress to involving the key stakeholders in the process design. Now the beauty about using us is that we have a huge collection of intellectual property that was proven based on, say, ITIL or Prince2 or P3O. But not only that, it's been proven in various big organizations, so it's tailored already and we know how to deal with that. So we bring in that vanilla material, we workshop it and socialize it with key stakeholders in our customer environment. So already in the design of new processes, we establish buy-in and it becomes people's own product rather than some sort of consultant's product. Now that's the start. So we work with key stakeholders and senior management to design appropriate processes, tailor them to their real-life environment. Then the next step is we need to make sure that those processes are understandable and easy to access and easy to use through properly tailored tooling and properly tailored awareness mechanisms. So we make sure we create quick reference cards, awareness sessions, training sessions, coaching sessions to socialize those processes before we go live. Then the next and the final step is we need to go live by strong, committed communication by senior management, and there needs to be a culture of consequence, adapted to any local culture. But there needs to be a strong drive by senior management for people to actually comply with the new rules. So we make sure we facilitate that. After that, we continue to do a little bit of coaching and hand-holding, both for senior management to control the processes and the operational people to play a role in the processes. Now we anchor the success of the processes by establishing continual service improvement practices and KPI monitors across the processes. So we make sure that on a month-by-month basis the process is monitored, controlled and improved before we walk out and we say, okay, the transformation process has ended, now business as usual has to pick it up. So that's in broad terms our approach, and throughout that whole approach the key element is people. Of course we've got intellectual property, of course we've based that on global standard, of course we need to use tools, but the key success factor is make sure that there's buy-in on senior management level, there's control on senior management level, and there's a real understanding and compliance on operational level. And we can enable that in various different ways. We can enable that through training, we can enable that through coaching, and we can enable that through being a trusted advisor for senior management. And being that trusted advisor makes a big difference. Of course we can teach formal training classes, of course we can do presentations for customers, of course we are visible at conferences where we present papers all the time, but the key is we need to be trusted by our senior customers. The moment we're trusted, we make a difference in our coaching of how they may control and improve the processes. It's a journey that we need to make together.